Alvaro Farias held Luana's test by the very corner, like it was something dirty he didn't want touching his hands. He read it slowly, lips curling into a crooked smile, and then he let out a short, sharp laugh. The kind that isn't just mockery, it's a verdict. 9 languages? He repeated loudly, making sure everyone heard. You really expect me to believe that? The classroom went silent for a second, and then the whispers started. Snickers, side eyes. That cruel kind of curiosity people have when the humiliation isn't happening to them. Luana stood there, clutching her grandfather's old dictionary against her chest. The cover was cracked, the pages were yellow, worn down by time. But to her, it wasn't just a book. It was the last piece of him she still carried. And then, the teacher did something nobody expected. He ripped her test, slowly, deliberately, into 4 pieces. And he let the paper fall to the floor like he was throwing away her worth. Go back to milking cows, he said, his voice dripping with contempt. That's where girls like you belong. The sound of tearing paper echoed in the room like a slap. And in that moment, Luana realized it wasn't just her test being destroyed, it was her dignity. Her face burned, her throat tightened, but she refused to cry. Because deep down, she knew something none of them knew yet. This wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning. Luana didn't say another word. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She didn't give the teacher the satisfaction of seeing her break. She simply bent down, picked up the torn pieces of her test, and held them in her hands like they still mattered. Because to her, they did. Not because of the grade, but because of what they represented. A dream. A promise. A life she was fighting for, even when the world acted like she didn't deserve one. Luana Victoria Andrade wasn't from the city. She wasn't from a famous family. She didn't have polished shoes, expensive perfume, or a phone worth more than her mother's monthly paycheck. She came from Santa Rita do Val, a place so small it barely existed on maps. A rural district tucked between mountains, where the roads were dirt, the houses were simple, and the people survived on hard work and faith. In Santa Rita, nobody grew up expecting greatness. They grew up expecting survival. But Luana had something different inside her, something invisible, a secret no one in that classroom could see. Because while they saw a girl in a plaid shirt, Luana carried an entire world in her mind. At home, in a tiny house with a metal roof that sang loudly when it rained, Luana lived with her mother, Eliane, and the heavy silence left behind by the man who had changed her life forever. Her grandfather, Benedito Andrade. He wasn't a rich man. He wasn't a professor. He wasn't even someone the town respected. But he had something more powerful than money. He had knowledge, and he treated it like treasure. Luana still remembered sitting beside him on the porch, listening to strange sounds that didn't belong to their world. He would point to words in his books, his finger stained with ink, and make her repeat them until they became music. He didn't teach her languages to impress anyone. He taught her to survive, to open doors that the world loved to keep locked. And before he died, he left her one sentence she never forgot. Knowledge has no owner, my girl. You don't need anyone's permission to learn. That dictionary she carried to school wasn't just paper and ink, it was her grandfather's voice. And now, after the teacher ripped her test, Luana made a decision in silence. If they wanted to treat her like she was impossible, she would become undeniable. Benedito Andrade wasn't born into opportunity. He was the son of people who couldn't read, a boy raised in a place where education wasn't a path. It was a luxury. But when Benedito was 12, he found an old newspaper in the trash behind a market in the nearest town. The pages were dirty, ripped, half unreadable. But to him, it looked like a secret code the world didn't want him to crack. So he did what nobody expected. He taught himself, one word at a time. And what started as curiosity became hunger. Not the kind of hunger you feel in your stomach. The kind you feel in your soul when you realize there's more to life than the walls around you. At 15, a truck driver passed through Santa Rita and handed him a Portuguese-English dictionary. The cover was already cracked, the spine barely holding together. But Benedito held it like someone had just handed him a key to another universe. He studied it like food during famine. Then came more books: French, Spanish, German. And then came the life nobody in Santa Rita understood. Benedito left. Not with money, not with a plan, not with connections. He left with words. He worked on merchant ships for 20 years, crossing oceans, sleeping wherever he could, eating whatever was available. He scrubbed decks, carried cargo, survived storms, and in every port, he did something that made him dangerous in the best way. He listened. He learned, not to show off, to survive. Because when you don't have a famous name, language becomes your protection. In Shanghai, he learned Mandarin. In Casablanca, Arabic. In Yokohama, Japanese. In Vladivostok, Russian. In Naples, Italian. Each language wasn't a trophy. It was a door, a chance to eat, a chance to work, a chance to avoid trouble, a chance to be seen as human. And every time someone tried to treat him like he didn't belong, Benedito proved he belonged anywhere words existed. When he finally returned to Santa Rita, older and tired, he came back with a wooden trunk full of dictionaries, notebooks filled with strange alphabets, and pages covered in handwritten notes. But the most valuable thing he brought back was a belief, a sentence he repeated like a prayer. Knowledge has no owner. And when Luana was born, he saw something in her, a fire. So he made her his student. Every afternoon on the porch, he taught her in a way no school ever could. He didn't say memorize, he said feel it. He connected each language to a color, an emotion, a texture. German is brown, strong like a tree trunk. Japanese is white, sharp like a blade. Arabic is gold, like moving dunes. Luana didn't just learn words, she learned worlds. By 8 years old, she spoke Portuguese, English, French, and Spanish with ease. She understood German. She was already reading basic Mandarin characters. But then, the sickness came. Silent, cruel, unfair. Benedito ignored it for months, stubborn like every man who's survived too much to admit he's losing. And one October afternoon, he died, with Luana holding his hand, the old dictionary on the bedside table, and his final words barely escaping his lips. Everything is here. He touched her forehead, then her chest. Never let anyone tell you you can't. That was the last thing he gave her. And now, in that city school, with that arrogant teacher, Luana was about to find out just how expensive those words could be. Luana didn't fully understand her mother's warning until the day she walked into the city school. Eliane had said it softly one night, while washing dishes with hands cracked from cleaning chemicals. The world doesn't always understand people who are different. Luana thought she meant the languages, but she didn't. She meant where they came from. Because when the rural school in Santa Rita was shut down due to lack of funding, Luana's dream was supposed to die with it. There was no other option in the district. If she wanted to keep studying, she had to go to the city, 3 hours away, a place that looked nothing like home. Eliane took a job as a maid for a wealthy family. They gave her a tiny room in the back of the house, a tight salary, and one condition: don't get in the way. And Eliane accepted. Because mothers accept anything when the alternative is watching their child's future disappear. On Luana's first day, she woke up before sunrise. She wore her best outfit, a red plaid shirt she'd bought secondhand, faded jeans cleaned until they looked new, and shoes that had been repaired so many times they barely kept their shape. She packed her notebook carefully. And above all, she packed her grandfather's dictionary, like an amulet. The school was massive. 3 floors, bright columns. a wide courtyard filled with groups of students standing like the place belonged to them. And Luana saw the division immediately. Kids with perfect uniforms and expensive phones, middle-class students trying hard to look the same, and a small group of scholarship students, walking like the ground was borrowed. The moment Luana stepped into the classroom, conversations cut off. 30 pairs of eyes scanned her from head to toe. A girl in the front row, dressed like she'd stepped out of a magazine, laughed and covered it up as a cough. Luana didn't react. She walked to an empty desk near the back, by the window. She placed her notebooks down with care and rested the dictionary on the corner of the table. From that seat, she could see the distant mountains. If she squinted hard enough, she could almost see Santa Rita. Then the door opened, hard, and the entire atmosphere changed. Professor Alvaro Farias entered like a man walking into his own kingdom. Tall, thin, gray hair slicked back, a suit too expensive for a public school teacher. His eyes carried the confidence of someone used to being obeyed. "Good morning," he said, without looking at anyone in particular. "I'm Professor Farias. For 27 years, I've taught languages here: Portuguese, English, and French." He paused dramatically. "And before anyone asks, no one learns a language in one semester. Not in 1 year. With discipline, you'll learn enough to not embarrass yourselves when you travel." His gaze swept across the room, and then stopped. Right on the back row, on the plaid shirt, on the old dictionary. His expression shifted into something colder. "We have a new student." He pointed. "Stand up." Luana stood. She felt the weight of the room. Some eyes were curious. Others were hungry for humiliation. "What's your name?" "Luana Vittoria Andrade." "Andrade?" he repeated, like the word tasted bitter. "Where are you from?" "Santa Rita do Vale, sir." A murmur spread like wildfire. Someone whispered something about cows. A few students laughed under their breath. Professor Farias tilted his head. "I don't know that place," he said slowly. "Does it even have a school?" "It did. It closed 6 months ago." Farias nodded, as if that confirmed everything he already believed. "And what level of English did you bring from that school that shut down?" Luana hesitated. Her grandfather had always told her, "Knowledge is a seed. It shows itself when it bears fruit." She didn't want attention. She didn't want conflict. But the teacher's smirk, and the room's arrogance, lit something inside her. "I speak English well," she said, "and also French, Spanish, German." Her voice stayed steady. "And Mandarin, Japanese, Arabic, Italian, and Russian." The room froze. Silence hit like a wall. Professor Farias blinked slowly, and then his disbelief turned into something worse. Offense. Like Luana had insulted his entire existence. "9 languages," he said, almost spitting the words. "A country girl thinks she can walk in here and fool me." Luana held his stare. "I'm just answering your question, sir." And in that moment, everyone realized this wasn't going to be a normal school day. This was going to be a battle. The air in the room felt stretched thin, like one wrong breath could snap it. Professor Farias stared at Luana as if she'd committed a crime. Then he turned to the class, slowly, like a performer setting up his next act. "Sit down," he ordered. Luana obeyed. But she could feel it now. This wasn't about education. This was about control. And Farias hated the idea that a girl from nowhere might know something he didn't. He walked toward her desk. "Bring that dictionary to my table." Luana's fingers tightened around the worn cover. She stood, walked to the front, and placed it on his desk. Every step echoed. Every eye followed. Farias picked it up with 2 fingers, like it might infect him. He flipped through the pages. Old edition, cracked spine, handwritten notes in the margins. He scoffed. "And with this, you learned 9 languages?" "My grandfather started with that," Luana said quietly. "Then there were others." Her voice stayed respectful, but inside she was burning. Farias leaned back in his chair, amused. "Your grandfather was what exactly?" he asked, dragging the question out. "A linguist? A professor? An academic?" Luana shook her head. "He was a sailor," she answered. The room erupted again, laughing, mocking. Farias let it grow, enjoying every second of it. "A sailor," he repeated, smiling wider. "Listen, Andrade, I understand you want attention, but lying is not the path." "I'm not lying," Luana said. That sentence changed everything. Farias grabbed a marker and wrote a sentence in English on the board. "Translate it and pronounce it." Luana did it immediately. Perfect. He wrote another in French. She answered. German. She answered again. The whispers stopped. The laughter died. Because now it wasn't funny anymore. Now it was uncomfortable. Farias set the marker down slowly, forcing calm onto his face like a mask. "Very good," he said, pretending he wasn't shaken. "But memorizing phrases is not speaking a language." Luana stepped forward. "May I have my dictionary back?" Farias ignored her hand. Instead, he opened his desk drawer and dropped the dictionary inside. The sound was loud, final. "That stays here," he said, "until you prove you're not a liar." Luana's breath caught. "That dictionary was my grandfather's," she whispered. "It's the only thing I have left of him." Farias didn't even flinch. "Then you should have thought about that before making up stories." The drawer shut, and something inside Luana went silent. Not her confidence, not her strength, something deeper, like a door locking. She walked back to her seat with empty hands, her heart pounding so hard it hurt. She didn't cry. She couldn't, because she had promised her grandfather at his grave, "Never cry in front of people who want to shrink you." When the bell rang, Luana stayed behind until the classroom was empty. She walked to the teacher's desk. "Professor," she said, her voice low, "please, give it back." Farias didn't even look up. "I already told you the conditions." Luana swallowed. "What do I have to do?" That made him lift his eyes, and for the first time, his contempt was sharp enough to cut. "Next week," he said, "there's an advanced exam. It's designed for students who've studied for years." He leaned forward. "If you score above 90%, I'll return your dictionary." Luana's chest tightened. "And if I don't?" Farias smiled. "Then you will stand in front of this class and admit you lied. And you will apologize." The silence between them was heavy. Luana stared back at him, not with fear, with something colder, something determined. Then she nodded once. "Okay." And she walked out. But as she stepped into the hallway, she wasn't thinking about humiliation anymore. She was thinking about one thing only: winning. The next few days felt heavier than the humiliation itself, because without the dictionary, Luana felt incomplete, not because she needed it to study, but because it was him, her grandfather's voice in paper form. His hands had held those pages. His eyes had traveled the world through those words. And now it was trapped in the desk of a man who thought she didn't deserve to breathe the same air as him. At night, in the tiny room behind the wealthy family's house, Luana sat on the edge of her narrow bed and stared at the wall. She didn't have fancy textbooks. She didn't have a quiet library. She didn't even have time. Her mother came home exhausted, shoulders slumped, smelling like bleach and floor cleaner. And Luana didn't want to add more weight to her, so she kept her pain silent. But the silence wasn't weakness. It was preparation. She closed her eyes and reviewed everything in her head, like her grandfather had trained her to do. German structure, Mandarin tones, Italian rhythm, Japanese order, Arabic flow. She didn't memorize like a student. She remembered like someone revisiting places she had lived in. Eliane noticed her daughter was different, quieter, more distant. One night, she sat beside her and gently took her hands still soft, unlike hers. "It's that teacher, isn't it?" Eliane asked. Luana didn't answer at first. Then she nodded. Eliane exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. "Your grandfather was the smartest man I ever knew," she said. "But he was stubborn too." Luana looked up. He thought knowledge could protect him from everything. And it didn't. Luana's throat tightened. "He died poor," Eliane continued, voice shaking slightly. "In a forgotten place. But he was happy," Luana whispered. Eliane swallowed hard. "I just want you to be careful," she said. "The world doesn't always reward people who know things. Sometimes, it punishes the ones who dare to show it." Luana held her mother's hand tighter, and for the first time she admitted the truth out loud. "I'm scared, Mom. Not of the test, not of failure, but of what it meant. If she won, she would be seen. And being seen was dangerous. If she lost, she would be crushed." The exam arrived on Friday. 12 students sat in the room, most of them older, confident, trained for years. Luana was the youngest, the poorest, the outsider. Professor Faria stood near the window with his arms crossed like a judge, and he made sure everyone knew why she was there. "Class," he announced loudly, "today we have a special guest." He turned toward Luana, smirking. "Miss Andrade from Santa Rita du Vale claims she speaks 9 languages." The sarcasm dripped like poison. Nobody clapped. Nobody smiled. A few students stared at her like she was a joke they were about to watch explode. One girl with dark hair in the front row looked at Luana differently. Not with mockery, with quiet sympathy. The exam had 5 parts: English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, reading comprehension, grammar, translation, and an oral section. Luana didn't have a dictionary. She didn't have new pencils, just one worn-down pencil, and thousands of hours on a porch in Santa Rita. Farias clicked the stopwatch. 3 hours, he said. Begin. The room filled with the sound of pages turning, pens scratching, nervous breathing. Luana read each question slowly, and she recognized something immediately. This test wasn't designed to measure knowledge. It was designed to trap people, trick wording, double meanings, rare vocabulary meant to confuse. But Luana hadn't learned languages in perfect classrooms. She learned them the way her grandfather did, in markets, in ports, in bars, in cold nights where the wrong word could start a fight, and the right word could earn you a meal. She didn't panic. She flowed, switching from language to language like stepping into familiar rooms. She finished early. Then she checked everything. Once, twice, 3 times. When the written exam ended, the oral part began. Farias called her last, on purpose. He wanted her to wait, to sweat, to doubt herself. Luana sat in the hallway while the sun started to set. One student after another walked out, relieved. Then, finally, the door opened. "Andrade," Farias said. Luana stood and walked into his office. Diplomas covered the walls like trophies, a bookshelf full of expensive books, a large desk, and on top of it, her grandfather's dictionary, like a prize. Farias didn't offer her a seat. "Let's make this quick," he said. "I'm going to ask you questions in different languages. You answer in the same one. If you take longer than 5 seconds, you lose. If you make a serious mistake, you lose." He leaned forward. "Understood?" Luana looked him straight in the eyes. "Understood." And then, the interrogation began. English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, fast, aggressive. He jumped from one language to another like he was trying to shake her brain loose. And for a moment, it felt like he might succeed. Not because Luana didn't know the answers, but because the pressure was meant to crush her, to make her feel small, to make her forget she belonged. But then Luana remembered something her grandfather used to say. A language isn't just words, it's a way of seeing the world. So she stopped answering like a student. and started answering like someone who had lived inside those languages. Farias asked in German. Luana replied in German, but not with a textbook sentence. With meaning, with confidence, with life. And slowly, something changed. Farias stopped hunting for mistakes and started listening. Because for the first time, he wasn't hearing a girl from the countryside. He was hearing someone who was undeniable, and he didn't know it yet. But the next week would destroy everything he thought he knew. The weekend felt like torture. Luana tried to act normal. She helped her mother clean the rich family's house. She scrubbed floors, washed dishes, carried laundry, quiet work that made you invisible. No one hit her. No one insulted her directly. But they didn't look at her like she belonged either. There were rooms she wasn't allowed to enter. A dining room for the family, a living room for guests, a kitchen and a tiny back room for employees. Luana had learned something in the city. Some people don't need to say you're beneath them. They build a world that proves it. On Sunday afternoon, something unexpected happened. Baya, the youngest daughter of the wealthy family, walked into the kitchen. She was younger than Luana, curious, not cruel, just sheltered. "You're the girl from the test, right?" Bia asked. Luana looked up, surprised. "How do you know?" "My cousin goes to your school," Bia said. "He said everyone's talking about you." Bia leaned in. "Is it true? Do you really speak all those languages?" Luana hesitated. For a second, she remembered her grandfather's words. "Knowledge is like water. If you keep it locked up, it rots. If you share it, it gives life." So she nodded. Bia's eyes widened. "Teach me something," she begged. "Just one thing." Luana smiled softly. "What do you want?" Bia thought hard. "Say, 'Good morning' in Japanese." Luana took a breath. "Ohayo gozaimasu," she said clearly. Bia repeated it wrong and laughed at herself. And Luana laughed too. It was small, but it felt like a spark of kindness in a place that had been nothing but cold. But the moment didn't last. The rich woman of the house walked in. She didn't say anything. She didn't yell. She simply looked at Luana, and the warmth in the room disappeared. Bia walked away quickly, but before she left, she whispered, "You're incredible. Seriously." That one sentence stayed inside Luana's chest like a tiny flame. Monday morning came with rain. Luana arrived at school soaked, her shoes squishing with every step, and the hallway was crowded. Students were packed around the second-floor bulletin board. Luana's stomach tightened. She already knew what was posted there. Exam results. As she approached, the crowd parted, almost automatically, not out of respect, out of curiosity, like people making space for something they wanted to watch. Luana's eyes scanned the list. Her name. She found it. And for a second, her brain didn't process what she was seeing. Luana Vittoria Andrade, 98.7% first place, not just passing, destroying everyone. Right below her, Mariana Azevedo, 94.2%, Gustavo Noguera, 91.8%. Luana's breath caught. Her hands started to shake. Not from fear, from shock. She didn't just win, she made history. The girl with dark hair, Mariana, stepped forward and smiled. A real smile, not fake, not forced. "I've been first place for 3 years," Mariana said quietly. Then she looked Luana in the eyes. "And I don't mind losing to someone like you." Luana swallowed hard. "Thank you," she whispered. And then she did the one thing she had dreamed of all week. She walked straight to Professor Farias's office. She knocked. A cold voice answered. "Come in." Luana stepped inside. Farias was sitting behind his desk, the dictionary open in front of him. He didn't look up right away. He spoke like he was reading a death sentence. 98.7%, he said. Then he paused. The highest score in the history of that exam. Luana stood still, waiting. Farias finally lifted his eyes, and for the first time, He didn't look powerful. He looked old, tired, exposed. "You know how many years I studied to earn my credentials?" he asked. 30, he said, answering himself. 30 years of university, certificates, conferences. He swallowed. "I speak 4 languages. And I thought I was something." His jaw tightened. Then he said the words Luana never expected to hear. "I took from you the only thing you had left of your grandfather. I humiliated you." Luana didn't celebrate. She didn't smile. She simply looked at him and said calmly, "You speak 4 languages, Professor. That's not small." That hit him harder than any insult. His face twisted like he didn't know whether to feel grateful or ashamed. Then, slowly, he reached for the dictionary, held it with both hands, and extended it toward her. "This is yours," he said. "I never should have taken it." Luana took it carefully, like it was fragile glass. The familiar weight filled her hands, and for a moment, it felt like her grandfather was there again, breathing, watching, proud. "Thank you," she whispered. Farias shook his head. "Don't thank me," he said. "I have a debt to you that a dictionary can't repay." Luana thought it was over. She thought she had won. But then, Farias spoke again, and what he said next was going to change Luana's life forever. "Next week," he said, voice tight, "an international delegation is coming. Japan, Germany, the Emirates. They're evaluating a cooperation program." He hesitated. "There's no budget for an interpreter." His eyes locked onto hers. "We need you." For a second, Luana thought she had misheard him. The same man who had called her a liar, who had ripped her test, who had stolen her grandfather's dictionary like it was nothing, was now looking at her like she was the only answer left. "We need you," he repeated, quieter this time. Luana stood frozen, her fingers tightened around the dictionary. "I'm just a student," she said, almost whispering. Farias leaned back in his chair like the weight of his pride was finally too heavy to hold. "Nobody is born ready," he said, "and you, more than anyone, should know that." He reached into a folder on his desk and slid it toward her. Inside were pages and pages of information, technical vocabulary, meeting agendas, profiles of each representative. He swallowed hard. "I'll give you material. I'll train you. We have 1 week." He looked away for a moment, like it hurt to say what came next. "If it goes wrong, it goes wrong with me too." Luana's mind spun. This wasn't a school presentation. This was real. A delegation from other countries could decide the future of programs, scholarships, opportunities, and he wanted her to be the voice between worlds. Luana walked out of the office in a daze. The hallway felt different now. People looked at her differently, some with admiration, some with envy, some with disbelief, and she hated it. Because attention wasn't safety. Attention was pressure. That night, in the tiny back room, she told her mother everything. Eliane listened with wide eyes, her hands still damp from cleaning. "They want you to interpret for them?" Eliane repeated, almost unable to believe it. Luana nodded, her voice cracked. "I'm scared, Mom." Not because she didn't know the languages, but because she knew what people would see first. Her clothes, her age, her background, her mother's job. "They'll look at me and think I don't belong," Luana whispered. Eliane stepped closer and held her daughter's face between her hands. Her palms were rough, worn down by years of work, but her touch was steady. "Then make them see what your grandfather saw," Eliane said. Luana's eyes filled with tears. Eliane didn't let her look away. "Your grandfather always said language is a key," she continued. "And you have 9. She squeezed Luana's hands. "It's time to open doors." The week moved like a storm. Every day after school, Luana stayed with Farias. He drilled her with technical terms, education policy, funding structures, partnership agreements, cultural protocols. Mariana, the girl who had congratulated her, started helping too. She didn't have to. But she did. And that support meant more than Luana could explain. Because Mariana wasn't just smart. She was kind. But not everyone was. There was one student who couldn't stand what was happening. Enrique Sales, the son of a businessman, the unofficial leader of the privileged students. He didn't like that a girl like Luana was being talked about like she mattered, so he started spreading poison. The farm girl is going to be the interpreter, he'd say with a smirk. She'll translate in mountain dialect. People laughed, but it wasn't funny. It was cruel. One day, Enrique leaned close to Luana's desk and whispered so only she could hear. People like you always fail when it matters. It must be in your blood. Luana felt her heart spike. Her fingers clenched around her pencil until it hurt. Then she looked up, straight into his eyes. My grandfather crossed oceans, she said calmly. He traveled farther with his mind than you ever will with your father's money. Enrique's smile faltered. Luana didn't stop. And I won't fail. Enrique's jaw tightened. You'll regret that, he muttered. And he walked away. The night before the meeting, Luana barely slept. She sat on her bed, the dictionary beside her like a guardian. She opened it at random and traced the words with her fingertip. Not because she needed help, but because she needed strength. Because tomorrow, she wasn't just translating languages. She was translating her entire existence into something the world would finally respect. And when morning came, the school looked like it was preparing for royalty. The auditorium was decorated like a ceremony. Flags, a long table with a white cloth, microphones, speakers. The director, Otavio Barros, looked like he might faint. Luana arrived early. She wore a white blouse ironed 3 times, a skirt borrowed from Bia, and her old shoes, polished until they shined as much as they could. The dictionary stayed inside her bag, not because she needed it, because she needed to feel her grandfather close. The director pulled her aside. Miss Andrade, he said nervously, are you really prepared? Luana looked him in the eyes. I'm ready. And then, the visitors arrived. And the moment they saw Luana, everything stopped. Kenji Tanaka, Japanese, around 60, calm eyes. Ingrid Weber, German, 50, sharp and assessing. Khalid al-Rashid, Emirati, 45, controlled voice. Tanaka spoke to Farias in English, glancing at Luana. This is the interpreter? He asked. She is very young. Luana stepped forward, and in perfect formal Japanese, with the correct respect and tone, she said, Mr. Tanaka, it is an honor. I am Luana Andrade. I will serve as your interpreter during this visit. Tanaka blinked, then smiled, genuinely surprised. Weber turned slightly. In German, she asked, You speak German as well? Luana answered instantly, fluent and clear. Khalid spoke in Arabic, asking about her grandfather. Luana replied in Arabic calmly. This language is like the desert. It seems empty at first, but it holds treasures. And in seconds, the entire room changed. Where there had been doubt, now there was interest, respect. The meeting began, and Luana translated non-stop, Japanese, German, Arabic, switching like it was breathing. Not just words, tone, meaning, culture. Because one wrong phrase could break everything. The representatives asked deep questions. Tanaka spoke about purpose. Weber quoted proverbs about discipline. Khalid spoke about knowledge as light. And then, Khalid looked directly at Luana and asked a question in Arabic that hit her like a hammer. You are a student here, from a simple place. He paused. Tell me the truth. Did this school truly give you opportunity? Or are you simply the exception? Luana's chest tightened. She translated the question for the director. Otavio Barros turned pale. He tried to interrupt. Perhaps I should answer. But Luana took a breath, and for the first time, She didn't speak as a student. She spoke as truth. "With respect, sir," she said softly. "They asked me." And then, Luana began to tell the story. The ripped test, the humiliation, the stolen dictionary. And the room listened like the air itself had stopped. Because this wasn't just about languages anymore. This was about dignity, and the truth was about to expose everyone. Luana stood in the center of that auditorium, surrounded by people who had always been above her. The director, the teachers, the wealthy students, the foreign representatives, and for the first time, everyone was listening to her. She began in Arabic first, because Khalid had asked. Then she repeated in German for Weber, then in Japanese for Tanaka, and she told the truth. Not with anger, not with revenge, with calm honesty. "My test was ripped," she said, voice steady. "My dictionary was taken from me. I was humiliated in front of my classmates." The director's face turned stiff. Professor Farias stood still, jaw clenched, unable to escape what he had done. Luana continued. "But I was given a challenge, and I took the advanced exam." She paused. "And I scored 98.7%. Tanaka's eyes widened slightly. Weber's expression sharpened, like she was measuring the room, not Luana. Khalid's gaze stayed locked on Luana with something like respect. Luana didn't stop. "I am not telling this story to shame anyone," she said. "I am telling it because you asked if this school gave me opportunity." She looked at the director for 1 second, then back at the delegation. "And the truth is, I had to fight for it." The room was silent. Not awkward silence, not bored silence. The kind of silence that feels like a courtroom right before the verdict. Khalid nodded slowly. In Arabic, he said something that Luana translated immediately. "True knowledge lives in stories, not only in certificates." Weber added in German, "We are not offended by truth. We value it." Tanaka spoke gently in Japanese, then in English so the room could understand. "The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that breaks." He looked around at the school staff. "This school is learning to bend." The tension shifted. The atmosphere changed. The meeting continued. But now, Luana wasn't just an interpreter. She was the reason the room had to face itself. Later, during lunch, the delegation asked to speak with Luana personally. Not the director, not the teachers, Luana. They asked about her grandfather from Santa Rita, how he learned, how she learned. And Luana answered each one in their own language, naturally, like switching worlds was simply part of her life. Tanaka smiled as she spoke. Weber watched her like she was witnessing something rare. Khalid's expression softened. But then, the peace shattered. Shouting erupted near the entrance. A security guard was trying to stop someone. "I have the right to be here," a male voice yelled. "My father is on the school council." Luana recognized the voice instantly. Henrique Sales. He pushed past the guard, red-faced, hungry for attention. And then, in front of everyone, he threw the cruelest weapon he had. "Do you even know who she is?" Henrique shouted, pointing at Luana. "She's the maid's daughter. She doesn't belong here. Her mother scrubs floors for spare change. This is all a show." The words hit like a slap across the entire room. The wealthy students froze. Some looked away in embarrassment. Others looked at Luana like they were waiting to see her break. Luana felt her face heat up. Her heart pounded. But she didn't lower her head. Not this time. Khalid stepped forward, and his Portuguese, though not perfect, was strong and clear. "I have met kings and presidents," he said. Henrique's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Khalid continued. "Do you know what truly great people have in common? They do not need to humiliate others to feel tall." He looked Henrique up and down. "They do not confuse their father's name with their own worth." Weber stepped forward next, her voice calm but cutting. "In my country, we judge people by what they build, not by what they inherit." She pointed slightly toward Luana. This girl built something real. Tanaka's eyes carried quiet disappointment. He looked at Enrique as if he was ashamed for him. The director, trembling, finally found his voice. "Mr. Sales," he said sharply, "leave. I will speak to your father." Enrique stood there for a second, stunned. Then he turned and walked out, shoulders tense, his pride cracked in front of the entire world. And Luana, for the first time in her life, felt something she had never felt before. The world turning in favor of someone like her. After lunch, Tanaka requested a private meeting. Only the director, Professor Farias, a representative of the school council, and Luana as interpreter. Luana sat between worlds again, but this time, she felt power. Tanaka spoke with calm authority. "We would like to offer a pilot program." He laid out the proposal. 50 scholarships for low-income students, teacher training, exchange opportunities, international cooperation. The director looked like he might faint, but Tanaka wasn't finished. "There will be conditions," Tanaka said, "including preservation of indigenous languages and community inclusion." Weber nodded in approval. Khalid added, "Opportunity must not depend on family name." Then Tanaka looked at Luana and said the words that changed everything. "And Miss Andrade will be the first scholarship recipient." Luana's breath caught. Her eyes widened. Tanaka continued, "Full study support through university with international options. And she will serve as student ambassador for this program." Luana couldn't speak. For the first time, the tears she had held back all day finally fell. Not tears of weakness, tears of victory. Professor Farias stood up slowly. The same man who had humiliated her now extended his hand. "Congratulations, Andrade," he said quietly. Luana took a shaky breath. "Thank you, Professor." Farias shook his head. "Don't thank me," he whispered. "Thank your grandfather." And in that moment, Luana realized something powerful. The same place that tried to break her was now being rebuilt because of her. But the story wasn't over yet, because the final moment was still waiting. And it was the most emotional one of all. When the meeting ended, the auditorium slowly emptied. The staff left in stunned silence. The students walked out whispering like they'd just watched history happen. Luana didn't follow them. She stepped outside into the courtyard alone. The rain had stopped. The sky was clearing, painted in soft colors that reminded her of Santa Rita, those same mountain sunsets she used to watch from her grandfather's porch. She sat on a bench and finally opened the dictionary inside her bag. Not because she needed to read, because she needed to breathe. She flipped through the pages slowly, letting her fingers trace the worn paper. And then, she saw something. A note in the margin. Handwriting she recognized instantly. Her grandfather's. It wasn't a new page. It had always been there, but she had never noticed it before. Luana leaned closer and read the words, her throat tightening. For Luana, my favorite interpreter. May these words take you farther than I ever went. Her vision blurred. She closed the book and held it against her chest like she was holding him again. And she whispered into the quiet courtyard, I did it, Grandpa. I opened the doors. The next day, something happened that no one expected. Professor Farias walked into the classroom, and he didn't enter like a king anymore. He entered like a man who had been changed. He stood at the front, looked at the students, and spoke with a voice that didn't hide behind pride. I owe someone an apology, he said. The room froze. Luana sat still. Farias continued. I humiliated Luana Andrade. I judged her because of where she came from. I doubted her because she didn't look like what I thought intelligence should look like. His voice shook slightly, but he didn't stop. I took something precious from her, and I used my position to try to break her. He looked at Luana directly. I am sorry. No excuses. No performance. No fake tears. Just truth. And the room felt different after that. Some students looked down in shame. Some looked at Luana with admiration. And for the first time, Luana wasn't invisible anymore. Later that day, Enrique Salas waited for her outside. Alone. No friends. No laughter. Just him and the damage he had done. He cleared his throat, uncomfortable. My dad made me apologize, he muttered. Luana stared at him calmly. She didn't look angry. She didn't look proud. She looked free. Enrique forced the words out. Sorry. Luana nodded once. I don't need an apology, she said quietly. But I'll give you advice. Enrique blinked. Luana stepped closer, her voice calm but sharp enough to leave a mark. Your father's name won't hold you up forever. One day, you'll have to show who you are. And I hope you have something real to show. Enrique didn't answer. He couldn't, because she was right. That night after school, Professor Farias approached Luana again. He held something in his hands, a notebook, leather cover, blank pages. He extended it toward her. For you, he said. So you can write your story, the one that comes after the dictionary. Luana took it slowly, a future in her hands, a future that was no longer small. Thank you, she whispered. Farias nodded. Then, almost like he was afraid of the answer, he asked one last question without looking her in the eyes. Was your grandfather a better teacher than me? Luana smiled softly. Not cruel, not proud, just honest. My grandfather taught me languages, she said. But you taught me something too. Farias finally looked up. Luana continued. You taught me what it feels like to be underestimated. And you taught me what it means to prove the world wrong. She held the dictionary in one hand and the notebook in the other. Then she turned and walked away. Not as the girl from the countryside, not as the maid's daughter, but as Luana Andrade, the girl they called impossible, the girl who became undeniable. Because the truth is, knowledge has no owner, and nobody, not a teacher, not a school, not a rich last name, can erase what you build in silence.